Ever feel like your voice just vanishes in politics, like you're totally unrepresented? Well, today we're going to dig into that feeling. But, and this is the important part, we're also going to uncover a solution. And it's not in some distant government building. Nope, it's right there on your own street. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with the big problem, right? It's this feeling that almost everyone has. You do your part, you vote, you try to keep up. But the results, they never quite look like what you or your neighbors actually wanted. It's this super frustrating loop, and it really makes you think, is the whole system just broken? You know, there's a perfect word for this. Unrepped. It just nails that experience, doesn't it? Being represented by someone who, the second they get elected, seems to stop listening altogether. You just feel completely locked out of the whole thing. And this idea of noise-canceling headphones, man, that really hits the nail on the head. Think about it. The voices they're actually listening to, they're not ours. They're hearing the party bosses, the big money donors, the lobbyists. Our voices, our actual needs, we just become static, background noise that they've gotten really good at tuning out.
So this sets up a really important contrast. On one side, you've got the model we all know, the broken one. You vote every few years and basically just cross your fingers. But on the other side, there's this idea for a fix, citizen circle democracy. And this is totally different. It's about being involved all the time, actually talking with your neighbors and building agreement from the bottom up. And here's the real danger of that broken system, put in a really powerful way. It's like, if we don't use our democratic muscles, they just waste away. Our power to make decisions together becomes like an appendix. You know, that useless little organ that can suddenly get infected and put the whole system at risk. It's a pretty stark warning.
Okay, so we've laid out the political mess pretty clearly. But here's where things take a really interesting turn. What if the answer isn't about electing some perfect new politician? What if the real power isn't political at all, but economic? And what if it's been hiding in plain sight this entire time?
This is the absolute key to everything. We're all taught to think about power as something that happens at the ballot box, right? With elections and politicians. But this whole idea challenges us to flip that completely on its head. What if the most powerful tool for change isn't something you do every few years, but something you're a part of every single day? The community and the economy right on your block.
And get ready, because here's the punchline. This isn't just some abstract theory. The research shows that the average city block in a place like Vancouver has, wait for it, $2.4 million flowing through it every year. That is a staggering amount of economic clout. And the craziest part? It's basically invisible to the very people who create it.
So how do you see this invisible money? Well, that's where this new tool comes in. It's called Blockonomics, and its whole job is to be the X-ray glasses that let you see that secret community bank account for the first time. It takes that fuzzy idea of community and turns it into cold, hard data you can actually work with.
And here's the best part. You don't even need to capture all of it. The math here is so simple but so powerful. Just by redirecting a tiny slice, just 5% of that 2.4 million, your block suddenly has $120,000 a year to control directly. Now that is real power.
But this is about way more than just redirecting a bit of cash. This is all part of a much bigger plan, a complete blueprint for a whole new way of doing things. It's called the Third Way, and it's built to be a real, workable alternative to the systems we're all stuck in.
So the main idea here isn't to tear anything down. It's about building something new right alongside the old system, a parallel track, if you will. It's a community-first alternative that sits somewhere between the two big isms we always hear about. And it's designed for stability and renewal, not just for sucking value out. And as you can see, this is a whole ecosystem. All the pieces fit together and support each other. It's not just one single idea. You've got things like BlockShare for sharing stuff, community credits that act as local money, a life account to measure things in time, and life projects that the community actually funds. Every single part makes the other parts stronger.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how does it actually work? You know, in the real world, how do you even know if you're succeeding? Let's take a look at some of the specific tools that make this whole engine run.
First things first, you need a totally new measuring stick. Forget GDP. This system uses something called the Lifetime Efficiency Index, or LTE. And it asks one simple, profound question. How many hours of your one precious life do you have to work just to cover the basics? You know, a roof over your head, food on the table. It completely reframes economics around the only thing we can't get more of, our time.
And this chart, wow, it just lays the stakes bare.
Look at Vancouver. The system basically eats up 99.9%, nearly all of a person's working hours just to pay for essentials. But then look at a place like Copenhagen, where they have things like co-op housing. That number plummets to 63.7%. This proves that a better way isn't just some pipe dream. It's actually happening in other places.
All right, let's talk about the money itself. These community credits are a kind of local currency, but here's the key. You can't speculate with them. They're not like crypto. They are backed by a super stable three-legged stool. One part is cash, one part is actual community labor, and the third part is shared community assets like a tool library. This keeps the currency tied to real, useful stuff.
So what's the end result of all this? Well, the payoff is huge. When a community shifts just that little 5% of its spending locally, it kicks off a 2.6 times economic multiplier. What does that mean? It means the money doesn't just show up and then immediately leak out of the neighborhood to some giant corporation. No, it sticks around, it circulates, again and again, building real, durable wealth right where you live.
Okay, I know this can all sound like a massive undertaking, but the beautiful thing about it is that it's designed to start small. So, what can you actually do to get started? It really just comes down to a couple of simple, manageable first steps that literally anyone can take.
The whole journey kicks off with one simple action: making the invisible visible. Go find out what your block's budget actually is. Step 2, add your 2 cents to the community's brain trust by filling out a survey. From there, it's all about sharing things with your neighbors and saving some cash. And believe it or not, through those easy little actions, you start building real, solid power on your block.
And when you boil it all down, it leads to this really profound idea. This isn't about creating some brand new power from scratch. It's about remembering. It's about reclaiming the power that we, as communities, have always had, a power our current system has worked very hard to make us forget. So the question to leave you with is this: what could you and your neighbors actually build if you decided to start using that power, starting today?